Hello and welcome to the Indigenous Missing Person Support Service podcast. Today we have two guests joining us to talk about IMPSS and what we hope to achieve and provide for communities and families of our missing people. Joining us now we have an important member of our team, Taz. Taz, how's it going?
Good.
Firstly, just wanted to ask where you're from.
So even though, we reside in New South Wales at the moment, I'm a true Queenslander.
So what triggered your interest in missing person cases and how long have you been involved in investigating or looking into these types of things?
I'd say a good 20 years of my life. Over 11 years I've been actually investigating different missing persons. So it's something that's been there with me for a good while now. And what triggered it? I'd have to say my mother's interest in it. The biggest thing is the injustice. It's so many different cases. That's something that really grinds me, and I think that's what's pushed us to create IMPSS at the end of the day, trying to be there for families when we see how they don't get the help that they need. There's not enough resources out there. Yeah. And that's just the missing persons, period, let alone Indigenous missing persons.
So on that note, what exactly is it about Indigenous missing people that made you want to start IMPSS?
Well, my passion for helping families, as I said, I've been doing this for 11 years now. And then obviously talking with Johnno, we were sitting down one day and just said, how about we focus? It was sort of like putting our two interests together. Focus on the missing persons, and we'll make this about Indigenous missing persons because we never seen anybody else try to focus on that as just one subject, essentially.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious the gap in service delivery for Aboriginal people. But can we talk about what you've seen and the difference in treatment when Aboriginal people are reported missing?
Yeah. Not just with the reporting of missing, but how the cases are handled as well. So we see time and time again missing persons cases, and, their initial response to start off with is, I don't know how to work it.
I think, from my perspective and what I've seen, a lot of the time it's a pretty half-assed job.
100%. Where the police turn up on claiming the call out, it takes them ages to get their attention to start off with, even just reporting them missing.
Yeah.
And then after that, they'll come out and take the report, make their own assumptions. Like all these boys over in WA, these coppers are saying things like, we think they walked into the bush and deteriorated over a period of days. When you have a statement like that, God, that is just so uneducated. In fact, there's not as many white people that they have made that reference to as there is Indigenous people, and that's a straight fact.
Yeah, and I think that's a very, talking about being half-assed, it's a very easy conclusion to come to without having to do your work.
It's just lazy. Yeah. It's straight out lazy. I mean, if they even decided to look at each individual case, so Zane Stevens is a perfect example when you've got the detective talking about how he walked out into the bush and deteriorated over a couple of days. And yet Zane Stevens' family informed us directly that he's gone through the cultural protocol where he can live off the land for months at a time with no supplies, no nothing. The coppers are just lazy. They don't understand. They've said the same about Wesley Lockyer, and we all know that that's not the case. They're not looking at the cases the way they should be. It's that simple.
And I spoke about it the other night as well. If that was, anyone else in any field not doing their job properly, they wouldn't have a fucking job. So
that is exactly right. Regardless of what John to, they literally do need to be held accountable for what they're not doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And not just the police, the coroners as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Let somebody, these people need to answer to somebody, properly. They need to start doing their job properly. They need to pull their finger out of their ass, without a doubt. And we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And we'll just keep annoying the shit out of everyone until we start getting answers for these families. That's what we're here for. That's what we're about, supporting families and trying to help them through this journey that no family should have to go through.
Yeah. So what services does IMPSS offer, and, who are the members in the team?
Okay, so this specific question we've been asked a few times, and it's really hard to answer because our goal is to be a support service for the family of missing person. And it can be such a wide range of different things that each family might need help with, whether it's to try and keep contact with the police, or they're having trouble with a coroner. It can be so many different things. So we do offer to help communicate with the police on their behalf. We can write up some emails for them. We can even be there just for them to vent. There's so many different things that we offer. Obviously, we offer investigations, we offer searches.
And this is all free of charge as well.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we don't charge anything. In fact, I get extremely frustrated when I hear about specific people that have pretend cadaver dogs that charge people for searches. That really, really pisses me off, because they shouldn't have to pay anybody to go and help look for their loved one or anything, So everything that we do is for free. We're all volunteers. We all, do everything that we're doing free of charge. We don't charge anyone anything. And we do not accept any donations either. Even though we've been offered multiple times, we do not accept any donations.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing, is to separate, what we do from the money.
100%, without a doubt. We do this because it's a passion of ours. Yeah. It's totally different than so many others, We've got an amazing team. I absolutely love everybody in our team. We have Leonie Giroux, who is just magic at everything she helped with. We have Elijah and yourself, who I keep saying you're my favourite, Marbuck, and you just don't believe me. So we've got you two, and we've got Jill, beautiful Jill, that has the cadaver dog Mikey. And we've got some new representatives coming on board as well. So we've got two beautiful girls up in far north Queensland that are going to be representing us up there. And we've got a lovely gentleman down in South Australia. So we've got an amazing team, And of course, my partner, Johnno, is going to be saying hello in about a second. Amazing team. I could not, ask for anything more.
Yeah, and it's still early days too. Like, there's a lot of moving parts already, but I think the main thing is that people are hearing about us, seeing us on Facebook, all those sort of things, whether it's just sharing posts of missing people or people reaching out and trying to get help and us pointing them in the right direction or being able to help them directly. I think we're already making a difference.
100%, 100%. And look, I have to say, it still surprises me at how quickly this has taken off.
Yeah, it's good though. Like, I'm really happy to see it just grow the way it does.
Yes, without a doubt. Like, at the moment, we've got like 17,000 people following the page. And Oh, we've been going for 287 days.
Yeah.
So that was good.
That's really good.
Record.
It's all about being able to reach out to people as well, and just, the more people we have, the more chance we have on, if it's information or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I just want to point out, just while I think of it, we're not all like putting the police down, not about saying, hey, cops are shit and that's that. I know that's not the case. I know that there are good cops out there. I know a couple of them and I think they're great. However, we are going to call out cops that we feel aren't doing their job. I think that, the coppers that are out there working on these cases, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, fantastic. We put a post up on the page the other day about this officer up at Bundaberg in Queensland who is handling a missing young girl up there. He is going above and beyond with absolutely everything for the early days of that investigation, and I praise him for that. What a fantastic cop. Now, we just need to quang him and get him to start teaching all these other coppers over in Western Australia how to handle a case when somebody goes missing.
Yeah.
So we're not all about, bagging the cops out. It's not like that. It's just about pointing out the ones that aren't.
Yeah. Well, you don't get praise for doing a shit job at the end of the day, so.
That's it. Exactly.
If you want to raise, pick your game up.
That's it.
Also joining us now is Taz's partner, Johnno. Johnno, how's it going?
Yeah, good guy. There you go.
Yeah, not too bad. So, firstly, where are you from, man? Who's your mob?
I was born down in Campbell, down in Western Sydney. My mob, up until recently, I thought Camillo, but I've been informed that my brother Billum that we're actually Wellin, which is in between Gamora and Wiradjuri, which was also part of our family, the Wiradjuri. My great-grandfather was a fella called Perk Groves. He was a freedom fighter. We had a fair bit to do with the 67 referendum and all that. And my father was Tony. My father is Tony Pierce. He had a lot to do with getting custody of land rights back in the 80s and 90s.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, eh?
Just, yeah, I suppose.
So, Johnno, from your experience, do you see a gap in service delivery for Aboriginal people? And have you seen that there's a difference in treatment when Aboriginal people are reported missing?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up around when things like David Gundy and stuff happened in Redfern there, and the land rights movement and stuff. I was sort of on the border of the edge because when I was born, I wasn't allowed to have much to do with my Koori side of the family. Because I was scared that I'd be taken. It was just after the 67 referendum and stuff like that. So it wasn't until I was later I sort of started learning, and a lot of that come from friends of mine like Brad the Lady, who is the son of John the Lady. I went to school, but he taught me a lot. And then when I did sort of have more to do with my father, he taught me a lot too. And it's always been there. And if they don't investigate a murder properly, why would they give a fuck about, a missing black kid? Yeah, a missing black person, They bodge fucking murders every day. Cops get away with shooting us and stuff. And why the fuck would they put any effort into it, Why would this be any different? And that's the whole thing behind doing what we're doing. It's got nothing to do with who I am or any of our team members out. It's got to do with this is right and this needs to go out. We need more education and we need more public fucking awareness right across the board.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I think police need more education.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think the police need a better recruitment system where these pricks get weeded out.
Yeah.
Got to get rid of the racist ones.
There should be far more background checks on what people's beliefs and stuff are, because if you're the police, your beliefs should be kept separate from your fucking job,
And I think that coroners should either be Indigenous if they are investigating or giving a report on an Indigenous person. I think that they should have an Indigenous coroner, or at least have, some input, some genuine input from an Indigenous source.
So is there any particular case at the moment that you think deserves more light and more attention, that's been kind of, swept under the rug?
Well, which one? I mean, recently we've been looking at Torrance Sambo up far north Queensland, and we went up there for a trip and interviewed a lot of people and got a bit of information, and maybe ruffled a few feathers because some of the responsive people. But fucking all of them, man, all of them, every one of them need to be fucking highlighted. Fucking, at the NAIDOC weeks and reconciliation days and shit, we can have our presence of it,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everything that we're doing is trying to help the families. I think Torrance Sambo's case it's been disgusting from head to toe, the whole investigation. The long and the short of it is the police are taking the word of 3 white middle-aged men that he was even out on that boat. And it's disgusting. The 2 of these men have a horrid reputation. They refuse to talk to us. We've actually found evidence that there was something bothering Sambo before he went out on that boat, or allegedly went out on that boat. The coroner ignored everything. The police aren't interested. It's wrong. It's dead set wrong. They put it down to a shark attack. However, nobody's seen a shark. Torrance is just gone. No blood in the water. No, nothing. And the coroner was ready to just say, slam the case shut. That's it. It's not good enough. It really isn't. And the people that we spoke to up there, lovely people coming forward with information, they didn't tell the police this stuff because they weren't asked. The police never went and asked them questions. The police didn't talk to the people that they should have. That the discrepancies in the coroner's report of, the car that he was in was travelling from a service station to the boat ramp, and it only takes a short amount of time to get from point A to point B. Well, it took 5 times longer, from memory. Why wasn't that looked into? These coppers just don't know what they're doing. They don't.
Yeah, well, it's either that or they just don't want to do the work. It comes back to them not caring enough to do the work properly.
Exactly. That's 100%, without a doubt. And you've also got the very same similar situation with Zane Stevens. We've had that many people sending us information about that case. Why aren't the police looking at these people? Why aren't they talking to them? Why aren't they getting the information themselves and looking into it? It's disgusting that they're not.
What? Why are the other people around these people who go missing able to tell multiple different stories at the end of the day and change their fucking story over and over again and not get questioned?
Yeah, the
POIs more.
The POIs, yeah, definitely.
Because
what? Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not.
Yeah, and not that I would really know, but if someone's going to change their story multiple times, then that says something's up. Something's not right. What is it that you're not speaking the truth about?
Exactly.
If you have to change your story.
Exactly.
Unless you genuinely forgot, which happens, but...
The thing that it always gets me, and it's very common in a lot of cases, you have people that are relatively close to the person that's gone missing, right? And the people that were with them at the time that they'd gone missing state that they're close to that person, yet do not give a clear answer or in any information as to what happened, what went wrong. It's just a really common thing, you know. Torrance went out on that boat, allegedly, with his workmate. Now, I briefly spoke to his workmate, and he had zero interest in wanting to talk at all about Torrance or that day. Yet he claims that he gave a shit, you know. He didn't give a shit. No way. No way. And it's the same with Wesley Lockyer. You've got people over there that he was close to that aren't forthcoming with information. What is going on? You know, they are the people that you want to look at first because they're not coming up and saying, hey, this, and this. And it's the same with Zane. If things don't make sense and those people that are around them are not giving the information, then that's where you're going to look. You're going to keep looking in that one spot until something gives.
So what have you noticed about, you know, I guess, communities and families and how this is affecting people?
So each case, I would say, is different. And that purely because I believe every single person handles things differently.
Yeah.
You know, there are some families out there that we are aware of that it doesn't just end with their loved one missing. Some families have received threats. Some families have received physical abuse from different people that are POIs. You know, every single family would be handling things differently.
So if people are POIs, which is person of interest, and they're threatening family, like, shouldn't they be looked into a bit more by police? Like,
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. You know what the problem is, though? You've got families that go to the coppers to ask for help with their loved one that's gone missing in what they genuinely believe to be suspicious circumstances, and the coppers don't do shit. So no family is going to feel comfortable going up there to say, hey, this is happening and this is happening.
yeah, true.
And even if they did, what are the coppers going to do? They prove it? It's a really tough situation for families to be in. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, who do you call?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a bigger problem than what people truly realize. It genuinely is.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they hear you go, oh, racist police, and they're like, no, I'm sure that's not the case. But we see it firsthand. But, like, you know, me being a black fella, if you live in small communities, even if you live in the city, you see it. You see racist cops, and you know it. And it's not always as big as not doing their job when someone gets missing, but it's also the small indirect bullshit that they give you on the street.
Yes. Yes. Wholeheartedly.
So going forward with the Indigenous Missing Person Support Service, what do we strive to achieve?
I think change in how things are handled, more awareness being put out there. I just think change overall. That's our goal, to make change happen for each individual family, one at a time, and for any in the future moving forward. I think change.
I think we need accountability, you know? Fucking change. We've been asking for change for fucking 200 years. Yeah.
We strive to try and make a difference. And I think that's the most important thing, honestly. These families need support. They need help. And I think that the more people that we can get on board to help us do what we're doing, the better, you know. Moving forward with us, we're looking at expanding. We're constantly going to be looking for people like-minded that would like to volunteer their time we invite them to send us an email. We would really love and appreciate more people to give us a hand doing what we're doing.
And I think, like, we need to be united as a mob. So when these families have been kicked to the gutter by the cops and shit, and they feel isolated and stuff, but they don't think that someone in our mob, our team here, will always be there to, have a chat or find help or, that sort of shit. They can rely on us. If we're not all pork, we're not all bark, we're not all fucking mat. They actually do shit.
Yeah, we bite too.
That's the one. That brings us to an end of our yarn with Johnno and Taz. Thanks for joining us, Johnno and Taz. I think that's been a very insightful little yarn with you fellas.
So easy, bro.
You're very welcome.
Depressed by the taste of hell and heaven in a mix. It's a life of addiction, sucking deep regret. The street doesn't forgive nor forget.
Joining us now are our new North Queensland representatives, Leticia and Jen. Straight off the bat, just to give the listeners a bit of insight, could you guys tell us a little bit about yourself and what drives you both to come on board as representatives for North Queensland?
So Jen and I and our family, we are born and raised in Cairns, Far North Queensland. Our grandparents settled here back in the 70s and 80s, but our ties are with the Northern Territory and the Torres Strait Islands. And, we're very honoured and privileged we've been given the opportunity to become a part of the IMPSS team. So thank you, Taz, and everyone for something that what I feel is missing for our mob Australia-wide. Like, it's good to have that service there, because there's nothing like it just yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely needed.
Yeah.
Especially, when it comes to communities with, a lot of black fellas and all that sort of stuff. We see it too much.
Yeah, that's right. And there's just always, like, what services are out there for our mob, there's nothing really, or we've not really offered anything, other than you just have to deal with the system itself type of thing.
Yeah.
So, from a family's perspective, could you tell us, what you guys go through when a family member does go missing?
I think it's kind of like a feeling that is, how could I explain it? I think you really don't know how to grieve because you don't even know what you're grieving for.
Yeah.
When someone's missing, and it's a different, it's a different kind of grief because you're still waiting for them to walk through the door, and I think it's like it's a grief that's undescribable, and I don't think anyone really knows that feeling until they actually go through it of missing a loved one. I mean, like there's no closure. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, there's no closure. So I just feel like every day you're just waiting for that for that person to come home. Without closure, you don't have faith in anything. You kind of just lose faith in everything.
Yeah, you're kind of just left in limbo sort of thing.
Yeah. And as we mentioned before, like, you lose faith in everything because the biggest letdown is the system.
Yeah. Well, that does.
That failed us, basically. Just like all the other black fellas that go missing. And that's just one piece of the system that fails us and continues to do so. So, yeah, I just feel like it's just an undescribable feeling. Yeah, we don't have closure. So what are you grieving for?
Just to add to that as well, with the grief over a missing person, it's different to actually losing a loved one in other circumstances. Like, you can bury them, you can say your goodbye, you can visit their gravesite, when you want to. With as a missing person, there's nothing. It's just like an empty feeling, and it's like a part of you is missing. That's what it feels like, and you don't ever get over the grief. You just learn to deal with it, you know, when you go about your life, pretty much, like on a daily basis. You just learn to deal with it. It never goes away.
So just going back to like how we're talking about the police and whatnot, what about the system do you think needs to change?
It's a big question.
Yeah. Oh, I think it needs to be a driving force, and I think it needs to be done in all aspects of the system, if that makes sense. So I think we need more black voices,
Yeah.
strong black voices that need to be in leadership roles in the system that could really drive for that change. But not only that, I really feel like it's also not our responsibility as well. It's almost like how do I explain it? It's basically racial discrimination. Like it's 2025 and the system's still
Systematic.
yeah, systemic. Yeah, it's still systematic racism, and we're living in like 2025, and why are we still having these conversations our people had before us, and we're still having the same conversations? Why are there still gaps for our people? So that's what I mean by I feel like it needs to be done as a collective in all aspects of the system. When we think about the justice system, health, it's all areas of that. It's all connected.
Yeah. Well, one thing that me and Taz spoke about earlier was, having accountability for people, for police that just aren't doing their job properly. A lot of police out there that when it comes to blackfellas, we don't see the effort put in.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And it's not one case here or one case there. It's consistent almost across the board.
Yeah, it's sad to see. It's just like with our mob, it's just another statistic, basically.
It's like you can't help but feel the different treatment that you get. Like, when you see a white person on missing persons and how much publicity they get, or how much effort put into the search, and the effort, like, the effort that they put into covering the search in all areas, and and then compared to our mob, it's like there's little coverage. Yeah, there's little coverage. And there, like you said, there's no accountability on the police force.
Yeah. There definitely needs to be. I think, that would be a start to have people held accountable, punished for not doing their job, basically. Like you can't do the bare minimum and keep your job anywhere else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And like, to be honest, like, I don't know how you could ever, like, I don't know how we change that. Like, I don't know. It's a systematic failure.
Welcome to the street club, beat the sick and weak. It's not what you got, just got what you need.
So you two are sisters of Torrance Sambo, correct?
Yes.
Could you tell us about, your experience, not only with the police, but coroners and stuff like that around his case?
From what I can remember, it was, well, 1, we weren't heard. 2, we weren't respected. There was no sort of cultural safety for us to speak to the police. And then, that alone, like, just not being heard, just not, the transparency wasn't great between us and the police. We were always on their back about his case. We got shut down a lot, and we got told that we were seeing things that were irrelevant.
That were irrelevant, and we got told we were viewing things subjectively
that they feel just weren't relevant to the case.
Yeah. And we got shut down multiple times by their senior sergeant. When we had chased up one of the constables for, I think, for like his items, his belongings that he confirmed he had, just kept brushing it off, pretty much. And that comes back to that respect, as in wasn't treating it like it was important, but to us it was important.
Yeah, of course.
Because we wanted to confirm if they were his items. And we needed that bit of satisfactory to look at that item, but we kept getting brushed off. So it was the unfair treatment and like the disregard.
Yep. We didn't want to hear any of our concerns or anything like that, what we had to say. False promises was another thing. Because within those first few weeks of our brother going missing, they promised us reports that we followed up, trying to get to copies of that report. Our last debriefing session we had with them, they promised us that we were going to get a copy of that. We then chased them up, asked them for it, for the criminal investigation branch to turn around and say, sorry, we can't give you that anymore. It's with the coroner. And that everything had to be followed up with the coroner. So it was just pretty much, they were just trying to square away their investigation and give it straight to the coroner without sort of...
Sounds like without proper investigation.
Yeah. No support whatsoever to the family. Like, nothing. Yeah.
And like, I think, like in terms of that kind of support too, like even after, when we were still waiting for like reports and summary, like debrief summaries and stuff, there was no sort of follow-up phone call to us to get extra support, whether it was through like counselling or anything, from what I can remember, or even just like PLO visits or anything. I don't know whether CIB even have like the PLOs, but at no point in time there was no like, I remember only once there was a PLO with them. All the other contacts, all the other face-to-face contact, phone contacts, there was no PLO. So it was frustrating because we weren't getting heard. Yeah, like they're like false promises, or like it felt like they just treated our brother like he was like a missing dog, like it wasn't important. And like all they wanted to know, or what was important to them, was
information that would fit their narrative to, put it in their report, close the case. Like, this is enough. And then after the case was done with the criminal investigation branch, they handed it over to the coroners. Once that got handed over to the coroners, I think there was about 3 different coroners that jumped on his case. So we weren't getting regular updates. We had to pay them up for update. And then the Northern Coroner's Office advised us that, his case now being handed over to the coroner. It's now being handed over to the coroner. And this is all within the last 4 years. Until as of last year, the coroner's office told us that it was now with Coroner Roney, and they said we would get an update in December, just before Christmas last year. But there was no update. It was just straight into March this year, 2025, and be like, yep, we've made our findings. I'm going to send you the findings, and you've got 21 days to respond, and that was it. That's how our experience was with the local criminal investigation branch and the coroner's office as well.
Yeah, it's very poorly handled across the board.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know what to say about that. That's
yeah, I mean, it's gone to that point now. Like, yes, we're still grieving, but the emotion, the sadness is turned into anger and frustration. Not because of, okay, no, we don't agree with the coroner report, but what they put in that report. Some of it makes sense, but some of it logically does not make sense. And you're just angry, because it's just it's lies basically. Yeah.
and that doesn't help with like you guys' relationship with law enforcement, let alone everyone else in the community.
That's right. I mean, like, I'm sure we've all had our fair share of dealing with local police officers and whatnot, but we still respect them. And dealing with the actual criminal investigation branch, it's just like, wow. Like, it really opens the eyes as to this is how families get treated for missing persons. Like, is this what it's like? Yeah. It's just, it's shocking.
Cold night, made colder by the drain pipe. It's wearing off and trust he needs to stay high. He needs to...
Powerful words from Leticia and Jen, the sisters of Torrance Sambo. If you have any information about Torrance or any of our missing brothers and sisters, please contact us at Indigenous Missing Persons Support Services on Facebook. We would like to give a huge shout out to our editor Mel and a shout out to Topics, whose music can be found on SoundCloud. And you can find the brother on Instagram at Mr. Drops Topics. Thanks for joining us on the IMPSS podcast. We hope to see you next time. Much love.
A new pension for life, a new pension for death. Could you lend me your breath? I feel there's nothing left. Welcome to the street, come peek the sick and weak. We rummage through the garbage in the gutters while you sleep. Welcome to the street, come peek the sick and weak. Society's forgotten.